When World War II erupted, the world watched in shock as Hitler's Germany tore through Europe with a speed and precision that, honestly, seemed impossible. Poland fell in just a few weeks. Denmark and Norway were overrun almost overnight. France, a nation considered a military powerhouse, collapsed in just 6 weeks. How did one man and his army achieve so much, so fast? What was happening behind the headlines, the propaganda, and the blitzkrieg lightning strikes? The answer is a mix of bold strategy, cunning political maneuvering, and exploiting the weaknesses of others, a cocktail that made Hitler's early years look, well, almost unstoppable. The first secret of Hitler's early success was the lightning-fast war strategy known as blitzkrieg. Forget the slow, grinding battles of World War I. Blitzkrieg, lightning war, was all about speed, coordination, and shock. Tanks, planes, and infantry moved together, hitting hard and fast, leaving enemies disoriented and paralyzed. The Germans mastered combined arms warfare like no one else at the time. Planes bombed communication lines and railroads, tanks rolled through gaps in the front lines, and infantry followed, mopping up resistance before it could organize. This wasn't just military genius, it was psychology in motion. Fear spread faster than soldiers could respond. Countries that expected traditional battles were left stunned. But speed alone wasn't enough. Hitler's political cunning played a massive role. By the time he invaded Poland in 1939, the world was still haunted by memories of World War I. Britain and France, determined to avoid another devastating conflict, adopted a policy of appeasement. Hitler understood this perfectly. He gambled, calculating that the Allies would hesitate to act immediately. And, well, he was right. The lack of immediate intervention gave Germany precious time to consolidate victories, secure supply lines, and push forward before the world could catch up. Germany's military also benefited from preparation and innovation that other nations honestly underestimated. After World War I, the Treaty of Versailles had crippled the German army, but instead of being a weakness, Hitler turned this into a stealthy advantage. He rebuilt the military with a focus on modern technology, mechanization, and rigorous training. The Luftwaffe became a dominant force in the skies, tanks were redesigned for speed and firepower, and soldiers were trained for highly flexible, independent decision-making on the battlefield. Many of Germany's opponents were still using outdated World War I tactics, relying on mass infantry assaults that simply couldn't keep up with Germany's mobile warfare. Another key factor was intelligence and deception. Hitler's generals were masters at disguising their real intentions. Take the invasion of France, for example. Everyone expected Germany to attack through Belgium again, just like in World War I. But the German army surprised the Allies by striking through the Ardennes, a dense forest considered impassable for tanks. By the time the Allies realized what was happening, their forces were trapped and Paris fell with shocking speed. Hitler didn't just win battles, he rewrote expectations, forcing opponents to fight on terms they never imagined. Hitler also exploited divisions between countries. Political weakness, outdated alliances, and internal tensions in Europe were the perfect conditions for a fast-moving war. Poland was geographically vulnerable, and the French military was still recovering from the trauma of World War I. The Soviet Union, while huge and powerful on paper, had recently been weakened by purges in its military leadership. Hitler used diplomacy and secret deals, like the non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union, to neutralize potential threats and create openings for attack. Every move was calculated to reduce resistance before the first shot was fired. Propaganda and morale also played an unexpected role in Germany's early victories. Hitler's regime carefully controlled the narrative, presenting each military success as inevitable and glorious. Soldiers believed they were part of a master plan, fighting for a destiny that seemed unstoppable. Meanwhile, fear and confusion demoralized enemy troops. The psychological component of war cannot be overstated. When defenders doubt themselves, victory comes faster. Economics was another hidden weapon. Germany's economy had been revitalized under Hitler's rule, focused on rearmament and industrial efficiency. Factories churned out weapons, planes, and tanks at a rate few could match. This meant German forces were well-equipped, constantly supplied, and able to sustain prolonged offensives. Other nations, still recovering from the Great Depression, struggled to mobilize as quickly or as efficiently. Finally, it was Hitler's willingness to take risks that made the difference. Every bold maneuver, whether bypassing the Maginot Line, striking Poland with a two-pronged attack, or challenging the Soviet Union in the east, was a calculated gamble. In the early years, those gambles paid off. His opponents often hesitated, overthought, or misjudged, giving Germany the initiative again and again. By 1941, Hitler had achieved a level of military dominance in Europe that few thought possible. Speed, strategy, psychology, preparation, and boldness combined to make Germany a force that seemed unstoppable. But these early victories, while impressive, sowed the seeds of future mistakes. Overconfidence, extended supply lines, and underestimating enemies would eventually turn the tide. Still, from 1939 to 1941, Hitler's success seemed almost untouchable, and the world could only watch in awe and fear. If you want to understand how history could have unfolded differently, and the lessons hidden in those first lightning years, this is the story that gives it all away. Every tactic, every maneuver, every gamble had a purpose, and the early years of World War II were a masterclass in how a determined, cunning leader can exploit timing, technology, and psychology to dominate the battlefield. If this dive into hidden histories of Hitler's early dominance captivated you, make sure to hit subscribe and share this with fellow history buffs. There's so much more behind the headlines, and we're just getting started. Hidden Histories. Fu is your front row seat to the secrets the history books don't always tell.